What if I tell you? The plant sitting quietly in your living room, the one you've been watering faithfully for maybe 10, 15, even 20 years, has been hiding one of the most extraordinary secrets in the plant kingdom. Right there, in your home, in that corner by the window. Most people who own a Monstera Deliciosa have never, not once, seen it do the one thing it was designed to do. It blooms, it fruits, it produces something you can actually eat. And the reason you've never seen it? That's not bad luck. That's actually fascinating science, and that's exactly what we're getting into today. Point 1. The Bigfoot of houseplants. Let's start with the mystery itself, because honestly, if someone told you their Monstera bloomed indoors, you'd probably nod politely and think, sure it did. It's that rare. In the wild, the rainforests of southern Mexico, Guatemala, the deep humid jungles of Central America, Monstera Deliciosa blooms regularly. It climbs trees, it reaches up toward broken canopy light, and when conditions are just right, it produces a flower, then a fruit. A fruit that takes over a year to ripen, by the way. Your Monstera is not in a hurry. It has places to be, but it's not telling you when. In your home, though, blooms are so uncommon that most plant enthusiasts spend decades, literal decades, growing these plants and never witnessing one. Some people don't even know it's possible, which is exactly why we're here. Think of this as a nature documentary, except instead of a remote jungle, the setting is your living room. And instead of David Attenborough, you've got me. I'd say that's an upgrade, but let's not push it. That's the mystery. But here's where it gets genuinely surprising, because what actually triggers a bloom is something almost no home gets right, and once you understand why, you'll never look at your Monstera the same way again. Point 2. The science of the bloom. All right. So why does a Monstera bloom in the wild, but almost never indoors? The answer comes down to 3 things: light, age, and vertical space. Let's start with light, because this is where most people unknowingly give up on ever seeing a bloom without realizing it. Monstera Deliciosa is what botanists call a hemiepiphyte. That's a $5 word that means it starts life on the forest floor and then spends its entire existence climbing upward toward brighter and brighter light. In the wild, it can scale trees 40, 50, 60 feet tall. It's essentially doing a very slow, very patient version of what the rest of us call a career ladder. Except it never complains about the climb. The bloom happens when the plant has reached a certain light threshold. Not just any light, the kind of intense, direct, unfiltered light it finds near the top of a canopy. The kind of light that is, unfortunately, almost impossible to replicate in a living room with one north-facing window and a decorative curtain. Then there's age. A Monstera typically needs to be at least 3 years old before it can even consider blooming, and that's under ideal conditions. Most indoor Monsteras that are loved and well cared for are essentially perpetually young, comfortable, fed, never quite stressed enough to feel the need to reproduce. It's very relatable, honestly. And the third factor, vertical space, because the Monstera's bloom is triggered in part by how high it has climbed. The more it can extend upward, the more it mimics the conditions that tell its internal biology. Time to flower. Most indoor plants are kept pruned, tidy, horizontalish. The Monstera is being politely prevented from doing the one thing that would eventually lead to a bloom. So what does all of this mean practically? It means if you want a bloom, you need bright indirect to direct light. Think a south-facing window or a conservatory. You need a mature plant, ideally 5 or more years old, and you need to let it climb. A tall moss pole, a trellis, something it can actually grip and ascend. You're not decorating. You're building a ladder to a flower. Now you know what it takes to get the bloom started. But what does it actually look like when it arrives? Because I promise, it is nothing like what you're imagining right now. Point 3. What the flower actually looks like. When most people picture a flower, they think petals, color, maybe a nice scent, something you'd put in a vase on the dining table. The Monstera bloom is not that. What emerges is called a spathe and spadix. The spathe is a large, creamy white, curved sheath, almost like a boat, or a very dramatic collar on a very fancy shirt. The spadix is a pale, fleshy, club-shaped spike that rises up from the center of the spathe. It looks a little like a corn cob wrapped in a cream-colored coat, which is appropriate because what it's doing is essentially the botanical version of putting on a show for pollinators. The whole structure can reach 8 to 12 inches long. It's not subtle. When your Monstera decides to bloom, it commits. The scent is faint and sweet, pleasant, not overwhelming. It appears for a day or two at the peak of its opening, releasing pollen and attracting insects in the wild. Indoors, you might catch it in the early morning, or you might miss it entirely because, again, the Monstera has its own timetable and doesn't post updates. If you do manage to hand-pollinate the flower, which, yes, is something you can do with a small brush, you may be in for the most surprising part of this entire story. Because there's a secret about this plant that most people who've owned it for years have never heard. And it involves something entirely edible. Point 4. The edible fruit secret. Here it is. The secret that earns this plant its full name. Monstera Deliciosa. Deliciosa, as in delicious. The fruit that develops from a successfully pollinated Monstera bloom is actually edible. In fact, it's considered a delicacy in parts of Mexico and Central America, where the plant originates. It tastes like a blend of pineapple, banana, and a hint of mango. Tropical, smooth, complex. The catch, and this is important, is that the fruit must be fully ripe before you eat it. Fully ripe, as in the outer green scales have started to fall away naturally on their own. An unripe Monstera fruit contains calcium oxalate crystals that will cause serious irritation to your mouth and throat. Your plant has been putting up with your pruning for years, and it is not entirely without defenses. Ripening takes 12 to 14 months from the point of pollination. You read that correctly. Over a year. The Monstera fruit is not fast food. It is the opposite of fast food. It is the slow-cooked, Sunday dinner, waited-all-week version of a fruit. And for people who have tasted it, entirely worth the wait. This is also why you'll sometimes find it in specialty markets under the name fruit salad plant, or simply Monstera fruit. It's not common, but it exists. And it came from a plant that millions of people grow in their homes without ever knowing this. Now for the final point, and this one matters most if you're serious about ever seeing a bloom, because there's one specific thing most plant owners do that silently ends the entire cycle before it begins. Point 5. The thing that kills the bloom cycle. This is the one most people don't know. The single most common thing that prevents an indoor Monstera from ever blooming is something that feels like good care. It's repotting too frequently. Here's why that matters. A Monstera that is consistently given a bigger container stays in a perpetual state of vegetative growth. It puts all of its energy into roots and leaves, which is wonderful if you love the look of it, and most people do. But the bloom signal doesn't arrive until the plant experiences a specific kind of root stress, not damage, not neglect. A gentle, natural crowding that tells the plant's biology, we've maxed out this space. Time to shift priorities. Time to reproduce. When you repot every single year, giving it fresh soil, more room, more nutrients, You reset that signal. The plant never gets the message. It stays comfortable and leafy and absolutely non-blooming, indefinitely. It's basically living its best life and not planning to settle down anytime soon. The recommendation from botanists and experienced growers is to let a mature Monstera become slightly root-bound before repotting. Not severely, not suffering, just comfortably snug. Let it sit in that state for a season before moving it to a new container. Combined with the bright light, the climbing support, and the age of the plant, this is the combination that actually moves the needle toward a bloom. It also helps to feed it with a phosphorus-rich fertilizer during the growing season, spring through summer. Phosphorus is the nutrient most associated with flowering in plants. Nitrogen grows leaves. Phosphorus grows flowers. Most general-purpose plant fertilizers are nitrogen-heavy. Check the label. If the middle number in the NPK ratio is higher than the first, you're in bloom-friendly territory. One more thing: temperature. Monstera blooms prefer stable warmth, between 65 and 80 degrees Fahrenheit year-round. Drafts, cold windows in winter, or sudden temperature swings all suppress the bloom impulse. The Monstera is not dramatic, but it does have standards. If this is the kind of thing you didn't expect to find yourself genuinely interested in, welcome. This is what we do here. We take the plants you already love and show you the parts of them most people never get to see. There's a lot more where this came from. Hit subscribe, and we'll keep finding the good stuff together. The button's right there. Your Monstera would want you to. So here's where we've landed. Your Monstera Deliciosa is not just a houseplant. It's a rainforest climber with a hidden flower, an edible fruit, and a bloom cycle so rare that most of its owners go a lifetime without seeing it. The bloom needs three things: bright light, vertical space to climb, and a plant mature enough to stop thinking about leaves and start thinking about legacy. Avoid over-repotting. Feed with phosphorus in spring. Keep it warm and steady. And then, be patient. The Monstera operates on its own timeline. Not yours, not mine. Its own. But when it blooms, and you're the person standing in the room when it does, after years of watering and wondering, that's not gardening. That's a relationship. Thanks for watching. Go check on your plant. It's been waiting.